Good morning, everybody. My name is Nidus, and welcome to Warframe in a nutshell. Today we're talking about Nidus. Now, for those people who didn't realize before, I am actually doing this in semi-alphabetical order, so that's what you can expect to see. So Nidus here is kind of a really tanky frame. So he is one of the highest armor rates in the game with 145 armor. He has only 150 energy, and he has 450 health, but as you can see, no shields, and his sprint speed's at 1. Also, kind of a weird thing, he has a bonus 15% power strength. He's the only Warframe, as far as I know, that has the such a large amount of rank bonuses at maximum rank. Now, as you can see, I have formatted him 3 times, so don't expect. This is not Nidus's normal lookout. His normal lookout is the dash polarity and the D polarity over here. I added these 3 myself. So, then maybe I change the, or I don't remember anymore. Anyways, long story short, Nidus is a tank frame. He's also a friend that runs very easily and very well with things like Hunter Adrenaline and Rage, because since he always is taking health damage, it's the best thing for him. So the weapons I'm using are the Mutation Quanta, the Bolto, and the Falcor. All pretty low, not really that important. What we're going to be doing here is just showing off Nidus's abilities. And as you can see, 2 of my abilities I can't even use at this moment. So we'll go ahead and pause the AI, drop him back down to level rank 30s, and make only have, 6 Lancers. There we go. Okay, so a couple unique things about Nidus. As you can see, right above the Mutation Quanta's name and its ammo capacity, you can see that there is a symbol that dictates some type of weird resource thing. Now, what that is his passive counter, which I'm going to show right now. So here's his abilities, and as you can see, his passive is if Nidus is killed with at least 15 stacks of mutation, 15 stacks are consumed, and this grants 5 seconds of invulnerability and restores health to 50%. This can happen more than once. So Nidus has mutation. That is what this little symbol right over here means, above the Mutation Quanta and his abilities. That little 0 is his stacks of mutation. Now, with his abilities, as you can see, his versatility of virulence is 40 cost energy, does 300 damage. As you can see, it's already green because he doesn't have mods. He really doesn't have mods on him right now. It's just the effects of his rank ups. Otherwise, he has the length of the effect and the energy refunded per hit. This energy refunded per hit is actually based on his efficiency. So the more efficient the skill is, the less energy per hit you get back, as an FYI. For every 5 enemies hit, the infested mutates and multiply its destructive force. So this ability gets more damaging the more enemies you have that you can hit. So we'll showcase that here. So we have 6 enemies, and we'll see if they're spaced enough apart for this to make this to happen. There it goes. See, look at that. Now, something you might have noticed, every time I hit them, I was getting my energy all the way back, plus this little bar over here was going up by 1 stage. And since I hit them, 3 times, it went up to 3 with 3 little bars. The funny thing is, you also might have noticed that the damage they were taking was increasing. Now, that wasn't just happening because there was 6 enemies. That was also happening because of the mutation stacks. The more mutation stacks Nidus has, the more powerful his abilities become. Also, the more creepier he gets become, but I'll show that in a minute here. So, 940, 1175, so look at that. Nidus gets more and more powerful as his stacks mutation go upwards. He gets more lethal. It's one of the reasons why he can play at some really high levels of play and actually deal sufficient amount of damage. So we'll go ahead and rank these guys up to level 60 here, because this is probably what we're going to have to be able to do in order to actually fight these enemies on a fairly balanced basis and actually be able to see how much the stacks affect him. So 1191, 1247, 1403, 1559, and 1715. As you can see, each and every time that his stacks go up, he gets more and more and more powerful. So something to keep in mind when you're playing Nidus is it's about managing your new resource, which is the mutagen stacks, your mutation stacks. Because as you keep them going, your abilities become stronger and stronger and stronger. So next, we're going to showcase the second ability. Now, as you can see, we also have our other two abilities can be activated. And the reason for that is that, as you can see, these cost 0 energy. Parasitic Link and Ravenous cost 0 energy, but they cost mutation stacks instead. So Parasitic Link costs 1, and Mutagen stack for Ravenous costs 3. So you are actually expending your mutagen stacks that you gained from your first ability in order to use your second two abilities. It's kind of a give and take kind of relationship. Now, the second ability is Larva. Spawns an infested pod that erupts with tendrils, latches on enemies, and pulls them in. It's kind of a fun little thing, so watch this. Nice little bundle. I can just sit here and spam the crap out of them. It's a great way of getting enemies into a group. And now, you might have seen Nidus running with high range builds just to pull enemies into these from like all over into one concentrated area and just destroy them. And that's kind of what Nidus does. And as you can see, my Nidus is starting to change slightly. One of the other things about Nidus that's kind of neat is as he gains mutation stacks, his armor and his body changes to become more sinister, you could say. So as remember, these are level 60 enemies that we're fighting here, and Nidus is crushing them fairly easily. Granted, he does not have any competition, but that's fine. And you also notice they're dropping a lot of health orbs. So one of the secret passives of Nidus is that when he kills people with his virulence, they actually get a chance to drop a health orb. I don't actually know if it's actually mentioned in virulence. It is not, but it's actually a true fact. These enemies will often drop health orbs because of virulence. It's a secret little thing. Alright, so let's showcase his other two abilities, shall we? We played enough with the virulence and the larva. Alright, so his third ability is this. I leech myself to an enemy. I can't hurt that enemy in any way, shape, or form. But enemies can't really hurt me. And I'll showcase that in a minute here. So basically what this ability does, Parasitic Link, it costs 1 stack, its duration is 60 seconds currently. Its ally range is 40 meters, so that's how far you can do with an ally, and so it's half that for an enemy, so it's 20. The damage increase to allies is 28.75%, which means if I am playing with a party of 4, and I throw on my link onto someone, they're going to get an additional damage boost to their abilities and to their weapons and to everything by 28.75%. However, if I link to an enemy, I take 57.5% less damage. While this enemy stays, immortal for the time that I have him linked. It's kind of a cool little nice trade. I probably could do this. Now I'm stuck somewhere. Okay, there we go. Now, Nidus' last ability, of course, is, Ravenous. Now, Ravenous is, he spawns a big swarm, right? And that swarm creates these maggots that swarm nearby enemies, feasting until they're hit with virulence and then burst with infestation. The maggots gain benefit from mutation, and each enemy hit adds to the mutation stat. So, their explosion radius is about 4 meters, so they're very small explosions. The rupture damage is fairly decent. Their regeneration rate that you get from standing in Ravenous. Standing in it, you get healed. Its duration is 40 seconds, its radius is 8 meters. So I'll showcase this. As you can see, these guys will usually try to jump on people, and then boom. As you can see, it's a great way of actually generating more mutation stacks. Even if you're losing a few, you're still getting quite a bit more. And look at that. Don't even need to generate more energy. Like this whole time I've been spending with very little energy here. Another, like I said, cool factoid is they actually will explode. Look at that. Oof. They explode and deal damage based on the mutation stacks as well as their own damage. So once again, a lot of cool things happen with Nidus and his four abilities, and he really becomes fairly hard to kill. Okay. What? Oh, I'm undying now. Whoopsie. There we go. As you can see, just creep up behind here. In case you haven't noticed, the Mutalist Quanta has a kind of an interesting interaction with these giant infested orbs. Anyone who's watched Rob from A Gay Guy Plays will probably recognize that the orbs are actually quite useful to boost. See, normally your damage is fairly minimal with these things. I'll pause the AI and show. See, the Mutalist Quanta is very different from the regular Quanta, so 14, 20 damage, something like that, right? I fire a couple orbs. Look at that. A massive increase to my damage output. And they combine together. And you can just keep on doing that. Granted, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst. It's kind of fun. Anyways. So yeah, there kind of is Nidus in a nutshell. Look at a couple of his ability setups here real quick. So an economy build for Nidus, if you have the aura for it, Energy Siphon, Energy Siphon is a good one. I've seen a lot of people polarize this and run a Rejuvenation. Otherwise, you can run Corrosive Projection, Loot Detector, Shield Disruption. If you really want to play around with some different builds, Rejuvenation or Physique is a good one because, extra health for Nidus is good. So for now, we're just going to throw in Energy Siphon. In Matarai, you want to kind of play for just really Power Strength, Hunter, Adrenaline, Rage if you can, both of those. And that's because, really, he doesn't need a lot of continuity, and he doesn't need a lot of duration unless he is building to kind of play with his third ability or his fourth ability a little bit more. I mean, you could always throw in an Intensify if you wish, or Continuity if you wish. I choose to do neither of these. Just off the top to kind of show you an economy-style build. Again, most people might get Hunter or Adrenaline, might not have a Rage, but these are the two almost requirements for his build. Bazarin is really we're going to play a lot with Nidus. People will often pick up Steel Fiber for that 780 armor. They will probably run, Vitality, of course, for the extra health. If you can manage it and you have it, Gladiator Aegeus, maybe even getting yourself some Armored Agility for, maintaining your armor and your health fairly equal, doing some Gladiator Resolve. I mean, just in general, this is a pretty nasty setup. I mean, this with Hunter with Gladiator Finesse, which most people won't have, is a pretty damn nasty combination. Although I would always recommend that if you have it, instead of doing Gladiator Finesse, do Quick Thinking. It's 240% efficiency. It's far better. But this is a basic economy build. You might throw on like a Flow or a Natural Talent Streamline even for the more efficiency. Although, again, I don't recommend this. If you watch, when I put the efficiency on there, it actually drops the energy refunded because it increases the amount of energy it costs to spend. So you can spam more if you don't hit enough enemies, but it also reduces how much you get back. So, if in my personal opinion, what would I run? The Augurs are not really super necessary because once again, he doesn't really get a bunch of He doesn't get any shields, so not that super useful. But Natural Talent's a good one if you have it, along with Flow. If you have that one, mostly because those are going to give you a little bit more faster speeds for casting. Like if you watch this now, his cast speeds are a lot faster. It's just going to be overall better. Now, again, personally for myself, this is an economy build for him, and I get that. Personally for myself, what I normally run with him is I'll keep going with the corrosive projection, because most enemies I have to worry about is their armor. And then I'll grab myself, in this tree, I will grab Hunter Adrenaline. I'll drop down and Intensify for the extra power strength, which I know I'm a little bit of a hypocrite about, that don't put it on there. Beyond that, I'll do Overextended, and that's why I put the Intensify on there, to kind of counteract that strength drop. And actually, now that they have, if you've completed them, of course, Umbral Intensify, Umbral Vitality, just if you have it, I would throw those two on, maybe even Umbral Fiber. Boom. For all that ridiculousness. And then when here you can still drop in like Prime Continuity or something for that extra duration if you really want it. Again, I don't. So I'd probably just put on Rage right there so I have that extra energy regeneration. And then over here, running myself with 2 range mods. So Stretch and Augur Reach. So having those two available to me, giving my 265% range, that gives me quite a bit of range for my both my Virulence for 42 meters and my Larval for the 31 meters that it reaches out and grabs. So to kind of showcase what that looks like and what all this looks like, I'll go ahead and put in the max number of Lancers. So we'll go and put in 14 right now currently, I guess. Unpause the AI. Oh, let's kill all enemies. Do that. Max them all out. Make sure they're level 60. Simulate. Okay. So just a stomp away. As you can see, this really changes the game quite a bit. Oh, that guy got kind of flung. Ooh. No, I don't have enough energy. I was slightly out of range. And boom. So, wait, there's another person? I'm just gonna slice him to death with a Falcor here. No one minds, right? Anyways, so yeah, that's Nidus. As you can see, Nidus is a fairly powerhouse of a frame. He doesn't really need power strength. He doesn't really need, a lot of anything. He's very defensible. He's a high amount of armor, he's a good amount of health, and he can practically take down an entire field of enemies by himself with relatively little problems. Now some of you might be going, is there augments for him? If so, where can I get them? What do they do? And secondly, where do I get Nidus, right? Where do I get Nidus? Well, we'll go ahead and leave the simulacrum, go back to the Orbiter, and I will show you where you can get Nidus himself. Now, Nidus is a little bit of a tricky frame, mostly because Nidus is part of a quest line called the Glass Gambit. I can find it. Where is it? So the Glass Gambit. This is what you need to do in order to get the Nidus blueprint itself. It's a kind of a long and annoying quest line because of how many times you have to play the index and how it's kind of rigged and some other things. But it's actually a pretty sad, sad quest. Like there's definitely some quests I could say in the game that that definitely pull at the heartstrings. The Glass Gambit is one of them, and this is where you get Nidus himself. Now, that's only for the blueprint. The individual parts are found through a selection of different quests, similar to Harrow. So, main blueprint again from the Glass Gambit. Otherwise, you have to go do Infested Salvage on Eris. So there's a specific place called Ostrius, something like that, I think, on Eris. So we'll go ahead and go to Eris here and show that. Ostrius. So this is an Infested Salvage mission. It's the only place where you'll get Nidus's parts. Now, all of them are found on sea rotations. So basically, every fourth completion of the Infested Salvage, then this is not like you go in there, you finish the one wave, you go out. This is like 4 completions of the wave, which is really tricky actually. You get a chance at one of the 4 parts: chassis, neuroptics, or systems. He's one of the few frames that you actually don't get parts from a boss or get parts throughout the quest. It's actually just a simple mission that's unique by itself. So that's how you get Nidus. There's the blueprint and his parts. And now I will show off, I believe it's here in the Arbiters of Hexus.
What can we do to help your journey?
See if I can find him. May not be here. May be in Steel Meridian, which would make more sense.
Anything you need,
Tenno. So Larval Burst, he has 2 right now. He has Larval Burst and Insatiable. So Larval Burst, you can reactivate your larva ability to detonate it, dealing toxin damage in a radius. The damage stacks for every enemy grabbed by the larva. So the more you can use this to just grab and explode all the enemies as well as virulence them. It's pretty damn nasty. Also you have Insatiable, which is the 60% mutation stack whenever he gains 1, while staying in Ravenous. So it's a great way of just ramping up the amount of mutation stacks that he has, which of course ramps up his damage further. I am not really a big player of Nidus, so I can't tell you what his best build is. I could imagine that running him with Insatiable is probably a guaranteed necessity for a lot of the upper echelons of Nidus players because of what it grants. Personally, for me, my build that I built just a little bit ago, showing you guys what I would run with him. Oops, wrong place. I mean, if you, again, that's completely dependent on whether or not you completed the sacrifice quest, but you can run him like this, and he runs fine. I mean, alternatively, you can give him another thing, so maybe Steel 5, oh, no, I can't do that. All right. You do Prime Vigor, give him even more health, although it doesn't really help because it's health and shields. So, I mean, or adaptation, there we go. There's a lot of ways you can run him to be more potent, more powerful, more just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sure there's many people who could tell you a better way to build him than I can. And that's perfectly fine. I have no issue with that. Just remember that each person's playstyle is going to be a little different from everybody else's. So I think we're going to wrap that up here. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please like. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you didn't like, if you have complaints or whatever, please leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. And until next time, everybody, thank you so much for watching. This has been Nidus in a nutshell, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, everybody.